a small wooden house. A cool, gentle morning. Dad carries the wood out and places it on the ground. Mom lays out the measuring tape, carefully measuring each piece. Sister uses a pencil to mark the lines. Little brother hugs a handful of nails, running back and forth excitedly. Dad joins two wooden boards to make the frame. The little house tilts slightly. The family stands back to look. Mom points and gently shakes her head. They take it apart and adjust it. Dad hammers in the nails. Thud, thud. Sister holds the board straight. Little brother hands over the hammer. The wrong way. The small wooden house stands firmly. The roof provides just enough cover with a cute low door. The whole family fits perfectly inside the tiny house. They look at one another and smile warmly. One peaceful afternoon, the yard suddenly becomes an imaginary world. From simple drawings, an adventure begins. The path grows longer and longer, and the rules of the game gradually take shape. When adults appear, the challenge becomes more interesting. The rules are simple, but not easy at all. The joy comes from the near falls. When the whole family joins in, the path has no end. The game ends, but the traces remain. A gentle breeze blows through. The game concludes. A rainy day changes all plans. But rain also brings interesting sounds. Bluey and Bingo try to imitate the rhythm of falling rain. Everything around us can become a musical instrument. When listening, everyone finds their own rhythm. No need for perfection, just together. Peaceful moments are always special. Even a rainy day has its own joy. The simple fishing rod. Quiet. Lakeside/riverside. Dad arrives with a fancy fishing rod, tackle box, and folding chair. Son stands beside him, empty-handed, watching curiously. Dad casts the line confidently. The float sits on the water, perfectly still. Dad waits, checks his watch, sighs softly. The son looks around, finds a tree branch, ties a simple string to it, adds a tiny hook, drops it into the water, just for fun. Dad doesn't notice. The string suddenly tugs hard. The son's eyes widen. He pulls up the branch. A fish! The son freezes for a moment, then grins proudly. Dad turns around, looks at the fish, looks at his expensive fishing rod, looks at the stick. Dad bursts out laughing, shaking his head in disbelief. Dad pats the son's head proudly. They sit side by side, watching the water together. The fish swims calmly in a small bucket. The fish tank mistake. A fish tank sits neatly on a table. The fish swim happily. Dad sprinkles fish food carefully, nodding with satisfaction. Dad feeds the fish. Fish swim up excitedly. The kids press their faces to the glass, pointing. One day, Dad is busy. Mom picks up a white container that looks like fish food. Mom pours it into the tank. The water turns cloudy. Mom looks at the container again. Salt. Mom's eyes widen. The whole family springs into action. Dad gently moves the fish into a temporary bowl. Mom drains the tank. The kids carry buckets of water very seriously. Music speeds up slightly. Fresh water is poured in. The filter turns on. The fish are carefully returned to the tank. Everyone leans in, holding their breath. The fish start swimming again, happy and lively. The kids jump with joy. Dad exhales in relief. Mom smiles awkwardly and pats her chest. Snowman. Whoa!
2 hours later.
Bluey begins drawing a strange picture on paper. The drawing suddenly changes right before Bluey's eyes. The drawing begins guiding Bluey. The drawing transforms differently in each location. Bingo and Bluey decipher the mysterious drawing. The drawing leads Bluey to the backyard. The treasure is finally found. The changing drawing led Bluey to a treasure trove of creativity. A long rainy day when outdoor plans have to be put on hold. But rain doesn't mean the fun is over. When the scenery changes, emotions change too. A little clumsiness makes a rainy day more enjoyable. When we're together, everywhere feels warm. A rainy day is a chance to slow down. When imagination speaks, rain becomes music. No need to go far, just be together. A rainy day can also become the most memorable day. Counting the stairs. Bluey and Bingo stand ready for a simple challenge, climbing the staircase. Bluey starts her climb, and Bandit begins to clap rhythmically, each clap matching a step. Bingo is slightly confused at first, but she quickly finds the rhythm, trying to sync her tiny steps with the claps. The two girls are halfway up. Bandit claps louder and clearer, helping them maintain the count. Bluey glances back to check her dad's rhythm. Bingo misses a step and pauses. She concentrates hard, then steps forward, determined to catch the rhythm of her dad's counting. Finally, Bluey steps onto the last stair, and Bingo follows closely behind. The final cake in the kitchen. The son and daughter stand on chairs in front of the counter. Flour, eggs, and milk are spread everywhere. The two kids look at each other and nod with determination. The cake comes out of the oven, looking a bit misshapen. They take a bite. Their faces scrunch up. The cake doesn't taste good. They look at each other, disappointed. Dad walks into the kitchen, rolls up his sleeves, looking very confident. He adds more ingredients and turns the oven up higher. Smoke starts to rise. The cake burns. The kitchen fills with smoke. The kids cover their noses. Dad scratches his head, embarrassed. Mom walks in, opens the window, and turns off the oven. She calmly tidies up the kitchen. Mom starts again from scratch. Measures the ingredients properly. Stirs. Gently sets the oven to the right temperature. The kids watch, eyes shining. The new cake comes out of the oven. Golden and fragrant, the whole family takes a bite. The kids' eyes light up as they nod again, and again Dad gives a thumbs up. The whole family laughs. One energetic morning, the two sisters decided to go out and exercise. Sports don't need to be perfect. Just bring joy. And then a new friend joined in. When things get too exciting, things can go a little too far. Joy is only complete when everyone feels comfortable. Understanding each other better is the first step to a fun game. When everyone adjusts together, the game becomes harmonious. Sports isn't about winning or losing, but about bonding. A little tired, but very happy. When you know how to play together, every fun activity becomes meaningful. Covering the roof to avoid the rain afternoon. Mom looks up at the sky, raises her hand to feel the wind. A raindrop lands on her hand. Mom turns toward the yard, signaling urgently. Dad runs to the shed, pulling out a large tarp. The wind grows stronger. Leaves rustle loudly. Dad spreads the tarp over the items in the yard. Flap! A strong gust lifts the tarp up. Dad holds one corner of the tarp. Mom grips the other corner. Sister jumps onto a chair, pulling the tarp edge down. Little brother presses hard on the lowest corner. The tarp billows like a sail. Everyone sways, but keeps holding on. Rain starts pouring down. Water slides off the tarp, streaming down in lines. Items are dry. Plant pots are safe. Chairs are fully covered. Everyone sighs in relief.